called Teach Yourself Hindi. It's a book written by Professor Rupert Snell. So far, we've done 11 chapters from that book. In this class, I plan to start with a new chapter, chapter 12 from the book. And even if you missed the previous one, don't worry, you'll be able to still follow up, okay, regardless of your Hindi level. And this chapter, Professor Rupert Snell, he starts with a new topic. It's called conjunctive particles. Okay, so that's the goal of this class, that by the end of this class, all of you will be familiar with conjunctive, particles, how to use in your day-to-day conversation, and then, carry the conversations along using conjunctive particles. So just take a step back. Don't worry about the heavy word conjunctive particle, but all of us, when we talk, uh, you know, sometimes we make simple sentences using one verb. You perform an action, that I play football, or I eat food, or I take shower, or I go to gym. Like, one action is being performed in each of those sentences, but oftentimes they follow a sequence. You do event one or action one, and after that, which is followed by event two. Okay. Now what happens, that right what happens if you want to say that after eating my lunch, I go for, you know I go hiking. Okay. Or after, getting up, I take shower. Okay. Or after meeting you guys, we'll go for watch a movie. In all of these scenarios, action one is done, that first you are meeting someone, and then you are going for a movie. Okay. um, how do you do that, right? What happens to the verbs, and what is the conjugation, whether the first word will be conjugated or the second word will be conjugated. And that's where, conjunctive particles, they help us. Okay. So just to summarize, imagine that you have event one and event two, event 1 and event 2, and event 2 is followed by event 1. Okay. In those scenarios, what you do is, you use conjunctive particles, use it with the first verb. That's the thing you need to remember. You use it with the first verb. And what are those? These are range of words, functions, which are formed. I'm going to write down the definition here. Okay, these are words. These are words or function which are formed by adding k or cur to the base stem of the verb. Base stem of the verb. And if it doesn't, none of it makes sense, don't worry about it. Okay, we'll look at the examples and it'll make sense. Okay, so what do you mean by base stem of the verb? It's too much. What do you mean by k and cur? Nothing makes sense. So imagine, right, you have the verb called jana. Okay. um, so you imagine you have, like, base stem is like, you want to say that, मैं India जाकर, after going to India, I will travel. Okay. So how do you know, right? I mean, the verb here is, the first verb that you have is, you want to go to India, right? And that is to go, jana. Okay. Second verb is like, मैं India जाकर घूमूंगा, right? To travel. So the verb there is घूमना. So the first verb that the first event is to go, and the second one is to travel. Right? So far so good. To go is jana, to travel is ghumna. Okay. And I said is, like, event 2 is happening only after event 1. You are saying in your sentence that you will travel only after going to India. Right? So what is the first event? Jana, and this is the verb. And I said you will add it to the base stem of the of the verb. So what you do is you take jana, and as I said, you add k or kar to the base stem, and that gives you jakar. Jakar, it's interchangeable to jake. Both of them are same. Okay, jake or jakar. Now, what I want to do is we've been doing one verbs throughout the last 11 chapters. I want to just focus on the verb conjugation. Okay, and I want to give you confidence that all of us can collectively do it as well. Okay, so let's just focus on that jakar, and let's just focus on adding k and kar to the base stem of the verb. Let me ask someone, Tommy, what do you think it means, jakar? Jana is to go, but what is jakar? Any idea?
After going.
Yeah, after going. What else? Can even in English, like can it be used differently? After going is one interpretation. The second one that Rupert Schnell gives is having gone. Either way is fine. Okay, after going or having gone. Okay. Now let's do something else. What about you take another verb called dekhna? Okay, dekhna is to see or to watch. And as I'm writing it down, feel free to use the Zoom chat, and then feel free to practice along with me. Okay, and if you add k or kar to it, it will become. Who's going to answer that? Let's see.
Since I
Really?
was muted, may I try again, please?
Yeah. Go.
Dekna, after seeing.
So what is the output of it? If you have dekhna and if you add k and kar, it will be
After seeing.
okay after seeing. But in Hindi, what will you say?
Oh, I'm sorry. Dekke.
Okay,
Dekkar.
dekh kar or dekh ke. Either way is fine. Okay, and you're saying it's after seeing. Awesome. देख कर. Okay, देख कर.
Thank you.
Okay. Tom, you're on fire today. I like it. I want it this way only. Okay. So let's continue. So again, just to repeat, you take a verb. Okay, you add k and kar to it. Okay, so you have jana. You put k and kar, it becomes a chakar. You have dekhna. You add k and kar to it, it becomes a dekh kar. Okay, now let's see, and just write it down because we'll be using it pretty soon. Okay, um, khana is a noun, khana is also a verb. Okay, so let's say you have khana. Khana is to eat, and let's see, you add k and kar to it. I just write k and kar because you will see that um, you'll see both versions on a day-to-day basis. You will see in colloquially Hindi speakers will use k. Okay, in the newspapers or books you can see kar also. So they both are the same. Okay, so you have khana and you have k and kar. Let's see who else. uh, Tatiana ji, what do you think?
Maybe khakar
Khakar, very good.
after
And what does it
eating.
mean?
After eating.
After eating. After eating. Can you think of a sentence where you do something after eating food?
Mm, khakar.
Just say it in English first, or
Okay. After taking dinner or eating food, uh, we can drink chai.
we can drink chai. Awesome, right? We can always drink chai. But you see that, right? If you just simply say we drink chai, like hum chai peete hain, right? But if you want to say after eating dinner we drink chai, will be हम dinner खाकर चाय पीते हैं. We will get to that, but you know where I'm going with that, right? So khana is, as I said, it's a noun as well as a verb. So right now you're using it as a verb, okay? And if you have to say after eating khana, you will say khana, which is food or meal, khakar, khana khakar, okay? Khana khakar, okay? Now let me do it the other way around. Let me write down the conjugated version of it and ask all of you what does it mean. And I want, because it's hard for me to ask every single person, and I don't want any of you to feel that you're not getting any chance, so I want all of you to use the chat box and write down what does it mean. Okay, so it is, so I'm going to write down both the Romanagari and Devanagari, because some of you want to force yourself to read it. Okay, you have to all tell me what does it mean. Okay, so this is the first one. All of you have to write it down. What does it mean? Okay, and then the second one is, let me use it with a pronoun. Okay. Okay, and the third one is that Tatyani ji said. I'm going to just take it. I'm going to steal it from her. Hopefully you can read it. So I have written 3 phrases here, and your exercise is to tell me what each of these means. Khana banakar, aapse milkar. Okay, so milkar should be the base thing. Aapse milkar, aap is a pronoun, say is a postposition, and then chai peaker. Okay, chai peaker. Okay, I think most of you should be able to follow. Second one definitely should ring a bell, that now I know what it means, because you hear it and say it all the time. But hopefully this should ring a bell that okay, let's see how you guys are doing. Okay, so good to see so many comments. Okay, so Almaji saying after drinking tea for the third one. Okay, and that's most of you are saying. Kelly Ji is also saying the same thing, and Alma. Okay, and then Yirka is saying after meeting you. Awesome, right? So this one is after drinking chai. After drinking chai. Okay, and then the second one is Yirka is saying after meeting you. Okay, and then let's see, Navneet is also saying the same thing, after meeting you, and same is Vatsalaji. Having met you, that's a good one. Amritesh, it's the same thing, having met you or after meeting you. Either way, it can be interpreted. Shanali is also saying the same thing, and Taraji saying as well, after meeting you. Okay, and the first one is um, after cooking food. Awesome. So after cooking. See, this is much better, right? This way, all of you get to challenge yourself and do it. Khana banakar. Okay, after making food or uh, having cooked. Okay, and this one, hopefully this should ring a bell now. We often say when we meet someone, it's aapse milkar acha laga, right? So it's basically implied that you met them, you felt good after meeting them. Okay, and that's why aapse milkar acha laga. Okay, so I feel better. Any questions so far? If it is not clear, before we jump to the second part of the class where we will use it in a sentences. So any
Ashu Ji,
question?
I have a short question.
Yeah, go for it.
The meaning is the same as if we would say Kana banane kebab.
It's the same, exactly
It's
the
the
same.
same. And is one of them more used, or is it like it doesn't matter?
It doesn't matter, to be quite. So the question is for everyone's benefit. Um, Let me erase it. The question is like, you have heard of a compound postposition ke baad. Ke baad means after. Okay, such as, when we learned about it, we number 8 and number 9. Number 8 ke baad 9 aata hai. Like 9 comes after 8. So that's a compound postposition. And Yirka is asking, can I use that as well along instead of banakar? Okay. So for example, if you want to say, I eat after making food, मैं खाना बनाकर खाता हूँ. Can I say मैं खाना बनाने के बाद खाता हूँ? You can say that, right? I mean, it's at the end of the day, what are you trying to convey, right? There may be, if you ask the researchers, there may be subtle difference in there, but to me, they imply you are implying the same thing, that you will make it and then you will eat it. Okay, same thing, right? After meeting you, or after meeting you, आपसे मिलने के बाद, but you will not probably say आपसे मिलने के बाद खुशी हुई. There it is like, it comes more naturally that after meeting you is like आपसे मिलकर अच्छा लगा. Okay, और आपसे मिलकर खुशी हुई. Okay, but this one, it's okay here, like चाय बनाने के बाद, और चाय पीने के बाद मैं आराम करता हूँ. There it goes quite well.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, awesome. Any other question before we jump to the next topic? Okay, awesome. Let's get going. I see Heike Ji as well. Good to have your group. I mean, always, she taught me something new. Like, she taught me that, aap in Dutch means monkey. So she's like, even if I'm giving the utmost respect to the person, in Hindi, in Dutch, I am really calling them monkey. So I'm now really careful of saying aap, right? So just know that as well for your benefit, right? I mean, if you know both the languages, you may be in trouble. So anyway, so let's get going. Right. So now, how do we use it? Like, how do we use these, conjugative particles in a conversation? So there, what I've done is, I've wrote down the base sentence, right? Which is like, I go to office. I go to the office. This is a very simple base sentence. Now, my ask to you is, for the purposes of illustration, I kept it very simple. You can change the pronoun the way you want. You can change the object the way you want, and you can change the verb also the way you want. For me, it's really showing you that all of this can be changed, but you can still use conjunctive particle in your conversation. Okay, I go to the office. Very simple. You will say, मैं office जाता हूँ. Right? You have to go, which is jana, and it's used in the present tense. So you remove na and you put ta. Okay, and because this I, you're using मैं, and you're ending it with who. मैं हूँ, I am. Okay, which, and then you are saying it with a verb, like, which is मैं office जाता हूँ. Now, all the things that you wrote, you can fit it here, which means if I'm saying it in the present indefinite tense, or if you're so imagine, like, earlier you were describing your daily routine to your friends. Be like, मैं खाना खाता हूँ, मैं gym जाता हूँ, और मैं running करता हूँ. Now you can be a little bit more, you can give it variety by using conjunctive particles. Okay, you can say मैं न्यूज देखकर ऑफिस जाता हूँ. Okay, I'm going to write it down because I want you to think what it means. Okay, and I want you to, as I'm saying it, feel free to write down what it means. Okay, मैं न्यूज देखकर ऑफिस जाता हूँ. और you can say मैं ब्रेकफास्ट खाके और खाकर ऑफिस जाता हूँ. Okay, you can say मैं कॉफी पीकर और चाय पीकर ऑफिस जाता हूँ. और यू कैन से मैं बस लेकर ऑफिस जाता हूँ. ओके, मैं बस लेकर, व्हाट डज इट मीन? हु वुड लाइक टू आंसर दैट? Alma, what do you think? मैं बस लेकर ऑफिस जाता हूँ.
After taking the bus, I go to work.
It's a loose translation, but essentially it means like, I take the bus, and then I go to the
Oh,
office.
it's at the same time. Yeah. Okay.
So basically event one is happening, like, you take the bus and you go to the office, right? So that's why it's मैं bus लेके office जाता हूँ और मैं train लेके office जाता हूँ. Okay, awesome. Anything else that you can fit in this phrase in between this template that we have? You can try your own template, but how do you go to office? Like, you do yourself. So I want you to see if something else can fit in there.
Ashu Ji?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
go for it.
But you were just saying that May Busleka was like at the same time, but it's not after. Okay, so you're saying that one's the same time, whereas the other ones were like after having drank
So
coffee.
no, not the same time, right? I mean, same time, slightly different, right? I mean, I didn't say that Almaji was trying to explain, but bus leke office jata hu, like you take the bus and then you go to work. Same time is like ke saath. We will discuss case, same time as well. But right now it's just
But
the
doesn't
yeah.
it also mean simultaneously in a way?
Simultaneously. Explain a little bit more.
Like, as far as I know, the in Dutch it's absolutivum. I don't know the English word, but like it's also used to express something that's going on at the same time.
So I wonder if the question actually is, can we say that this means after I take the bus, I will go to work? So basically, like, I mean, because like really realistically, like what has to happen first is you have to get on the bus in order to get to work.
That is true.
But in English, I think the way that we would say it is, I would take the bus to work, or after taking the bus, I will be at work, or something
And
like
who's that? If you don't mind, I somehow am not able to scroll through the name. Who's that speaking?
Hokimo.
Oh, okay. Oh, you are right. I mean, essentially, you have to take the bus, or you have to take a vehicle or a mode of transportation. So either you say मैं bus लेकर or मैं गाड़ी चलाकर or car चलाकर, right? Now, I mean, simultaneously, I'm afraid to say yes to that right now till I test out all the scenarios. Okay, so right now just hold on to that. Okay, right now it's event one has to happen first, and then the event two, right? So right now stick to that.
So
right?
it has to happen rather than like this happens and then that happens. So it's not time. It's not necessarily one thing happens and then the next happens. It has to happen. Is that what you're saying?
Give me your scenario again, like the other scenario before I, in English or in Hindi, which scenario are you confused about?
No, I think what Tokime was saying makes sense. That it's not like you're saying after taking the bus, I went to the office. I go to the office, because you're just saying I took the bus and I went to the office.
Yeah, right? like you ended up at the office.
Right.
Yeah, it's like a series of events. I took the bus first, and then I was at the office, and I was at the office because I took the bus.
Right, exactly.
Series of events.
Ashu Ji, is it a kind of event of things, like a chain of things it's happening in the doing one thing, these are the things that happening before, or something like that? It's like a chain of things happening in to achieve one thing. Just, I take the bus to go to office, or I drank coffee before reaching the office, or I was drinking is it kind of a event of things or a chain of things that's happening?
At the end of the day, there are like, one thing is happening before the other. Like, your end thing is basically you're reaching the office,
Office.
right? At the end of the day, even if there was no conjunctive particle, you will say मैं office जाता हूँ, which means like, मैं, so let's say, I'm just trying to convey it in a different way, so it kind of like, make further sense. It's Why don't we revisit this, like after going through after
Sorry, Ashu Ji.
huh?
Sorry, like Erica said, it's kebab. It's just the equivalent of that, isn't it? As simple as that.
It is
It's
equivalent.
much easier to use kar rather than say kebab. And so making it longer, you're just using it kar and it's quicker. It's similar meaning, isn't it?
But the thing
Am I
is,
right?
like, you will see the usage of both. You will see the usage
Yeah,
of kebab.
yeah.
you
It's
will-
equivalent.
It's equivalent in many cases, but there are cases where it may not
Yeah.
fit very well, right?
No, just to understand the concept,
Yes.
it's the same.
So why don't we go through everything, and then we will revisit some of the more interesting questions there, right? So, and hopefully by the time it will automatically be answered in different way, right? So in this case, like, you have like, मैं खाना खा के और breakfast खा के ऑफिस जाता हूँ, मैं बस लेके ऑफिस जाता हूँ, और मैं कार चला के ऑफिस जाता हूँ, right? At the end of the day, you are saying that you did something, and then or you do something, and then after that you perform the other action. Okay, now the same thing can be said. So this is the base sentence was completely in present indefinite. You can do the same thing in present continuous as well. Okay, which is basically you are trying to say मैं and this may not be like the exact one, but like, मैं ऑफिस जा रहा हूँ. Let's say मैं ऑफिस जा रहा हूँ. Okay, so if you were to just translate this one, is like, I'm going to work, or I'm going to office. There you can say मैं बस लेके ऑफिस जा रहा हूँ. So the point here is, this thing, it doesn't change, it still remains the same. मैं बस लेकर ऑफिस जा रहा हूँ. So this is, in a way, it's a parenthesis. Your base sentence is still the same. मैं ऑफिस जा रहा हूँ in present continuous. And if somebody asks you, how are you going to office? कुछ नहीं यार, बस लेके ऑफिस जा रहा हूँ, और ट्रेन लेके ऑफिस जा रहा हूँ. Okay. Feel free to make more variations out of it. So you have present indefinite, you have present continuous. Okay. Let's keep going. And let's say you have the same thing if it was said to you in past indefinite. Same thing it was told to you in past indefinite. How will you say that? Let's talk about the base sentence. Just the base part. How will you say that? Taraji? How will you say, I used to go to office? I used to go to office.
मैं ऑफिस जाती थी.
Okay, so मैं ऑफिस जाती थी. In your case, you can say मैं स्कूल जाती थी. Okay, now let's say you want to say that I used to do action A, and then I used to go to office. How will you say that? Pick any example in between.
मैं नाश्ता लेकर ऑफिस जाती थी.
Okay, and what does it mean? मैं नाश्ता लेकर.
After having breakfast, I used to go to office.
लेकर or खाकर? खाकर. Okay. So either way is fine. How you want to say it? Lekar is like you will take it along with you. You will, you'll go to office. With your basically you'll bring your own nashta basically, right? Type of a situation, right? But if you can say that, मैं नाश्ता लेकर ऑफिस जाती थी. I'll take my nashta with me, and then I used to go to office. In that case, you can say it's happening simultaneously, that you took the nashta. You used to take the nashta, and then you used to go to the office. Right? So in that context, if you're asking like, are they happening simultaneously? Yes, they are happening simultaneously, right? But again, like this is the point. There is the base sentence is told in something that you used to do in the past. Okay. Now let's do the other part of past indefinite where you went to office. How will you say that? Sunita, you want to give it a try? I went to office. I went to office. We did that in the previous class. I help you out. Chana.
मैं ऑफिस गई.
Very good. Awesome. मैं office गई. What would you put in between? Your choice. Whatever you want to say. मैं office गई.
मैं बस लेकर.
Okay, my bus लेकर office गई. Take something simpler. Bus is already being challenged by many students. So take a lighter example.
How about running?
How about what?
Running, you know.
Running, okay.
Okay. मैं दौड़कर.
Okay, मैं दौड़कर office गई. Okay, awesome. मैं दौड़कर, what does it mean?
So I ran and I went to the office.
Right. Okay. I mean, essentially, you're implying that you can say it in different ways in English, I'm sure, right? But at the end of the day, like let's say you had you have a critical project going on, okay, and you know there was some because I'm an engineer, I'm going to use some engineering terminology. You have some production issue, which means like customers are saying that something went down, right? And you're like, मैं दौड़कर ऑफिस गई, issue आया और मैं दौड़कर ऑफिस गई, like I ran and I went to the office, right? That's what it essentially means, okay? But there again, this is independent, which means like you still have to remember your base tenses, like you went to office, okay? Questions? I think somebody was trying to ask something.
Ashu Ji, may I ask?
Yeah.
मैं news देखकर office gaya.
Very good. मैं news देखकर office गया. And what does it mean?
After seeing the news, I went to the office.
Yeah, after seeing the news. Yeah, having seen. Yep. See, that's the thing. Like in English, what is the correct translation of it? Like it may not be one-to-one all the time. It may make sense to use having done this, in some cases versus after doing this. That's why even Rupert Snell, he just says like, you can use both of them. So, but for us, try to think in Hindi, right? After, so that hopefully will clarify some of the points where we are having doubts.
Ashu Ji, okay, so I mean, if I just think about it, that last sentence you gave, like, मैं दौड़कर office गई, I mean, is it okay? I mean, I'm trying to think in like the Hindi way. It's just like the दौड़कर would be like running. Like I went running to the office, I
went running to the office.
Is that what
and I thought it was the opposite. I thought it meant like, because I used to go to the gym before I went to the office. I thought it meant like after running or after, working out.
That one is after, you're saying.
Yeah, so the thing is like, I think we are confusing it with gerund or potentially some of the other ways where, you are using it as a, noun is being used as a verb. But here, it's not a noun, right? It's basically,
But in your example, like you were saying, you hear production's down, and so you
basically ran. You ran to the office. You ran and you went to the office. And I think my thing is like I'm trying to convey. I'm trying to convey it in Hindi, but the English translation is where I'm like, what will it really mean? Like, मैं दौड़कर office गया. Like, when I went to the office, I was running in that context, but I don't know if, how to say.
So on your way to the office.
This is what I meant with it being simultaneous.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, because
In your
I
journey to
translated
the
it
office,
completely
you were
differently.
right?
Yeah, I translated it completely differently. I was translating it like the other sentences, like after breakfast, I went to the office. It was
That's
like
the way I was reading it.
after taking a run, I went to the
Sorry,
office.
sorry to butt in, Ashu Ji. In
Go for it.
Tamil, it
Yeah.
works as, there is an equivalent translation in Tamil, and it actually means I ate and then I went to the office.
Yeah.
I ran and then went to the office. That's how it translates in my language.
Yeah.
Like it says, sapita vittu, we say for car. So
Yeah.
it is completing or whatever, but it's not running and going to office, is it?
So the thing is, like, in some cases it is, so it works quite well when you finished one thing and the other one. But what the confusion is, and which even though as a native speaker we don't realize it, but in this case it is happening simultaneously, because you daud kar office gaya, right? So you didn't really finish the first one.
So would you say running to the office and went? So here in English, if something like that happened, I would say, after, say for instance, we got a phone call, something was bad. So I would say after getting the call, I ran to the office.
Which is,
it doesn't mean like you literally ran on your feet.
मैं दौड़ कर office, yeah, exactly. So this is, you ran on your feet to the office. You दौड़ कर office गया.
Yeah, and we could use it both ways, really, even in English. Like I ran to the office because it's close enough for me to run to, or I ran before going to the office because I wanted to get my workout in before going to work. And I think what you're saying, Rita, is also, but I'm not sure if it translates using that in Hindi or not. That's what
No, probably not, because Hindi is more literal language than English. Here we'll say I ran to the office and people know that you didn't really run in your feet. You actually
so in Hindi we probably would want to more say like I quickly went to the office.
Exactly. Yeah.
So let's write down both the variations of it. Like I went to the office running, right? That's how you will say where, or differently. In English, there are two ways. Rita ji, what were you saying? Let's write down your version first.
Well, at first I thought it meant getting my workout in first, and then I went to the office. Or you could also say after getting the call, I ran to the office, or means you rushed, you hurried and got
so
to the office.
In that version, how will you say it? I went to the office running. Is that how you'll say?
Yes.
Okay. And what is the other word?
So I would say made Dakar office, but then I didn't know if you would still use the gai.
Let's write down the English version for both the. So this is the first one, and there was other one that was floating around. And which one was
After
that?
running, I went to the office.
After running, I went to the office. Is the third version, or this is it?
Well, the third version would be I rushed to the office.
I rushed to the office.
But we would say in English, I ran to the office.
Exactly.
That's how they translated on our friend Google, actually. I ran to the office.
Google doesn't understand sometimes, right? I mean, so I ran to the office. Okay. Wow. I didn't, when I was preparing it, I didn't realize that there can be so many interpretation, right? When I'm saying मैं दौड़कर office गया, in my mind, without translating it in any language, मैं दौड़कर office गया, that means that was my, the manner in which I went to the office. Like,
So Ashu Ji, I have a thing here. So basically when we are saying this, we want to say it with description. Like when you are meaning मैं दौड़कर office गई, you want to say that I went fastly, like, like very fast. So you're describing how you went. So it's almost equivalent to I rushed to the office.
So the thing is, like, even if you go to the interesting cases, Rupert Snell says that they can be used as an adverb. Okay. So it's both the cases which is I'm trying to explain it to you. Like, if you recall, when we discussed adverb can be in a manner as well, in a time, like मैं जल्दी office गया. It's a manner in which you went to the office. Okay. Like quickly, fastly, these are the manners, like, or the manner in which you went. In this case, where you're saying I rushed to the office, or I, wherever you are in the three of these scenarios where you're trying to use it as an adverb, you are still using it in Hindi. It's basically you're adding kar to the verb. Okay. So you can use it as an adverb. In fact, if you look at it on page number, I think it's 150. Okay. If you look at page 150, some conjunctive particles functions as adverbs. Okay. So they function as an adverb as well, right? I mean, Mali daudkar pahucha. The gardener arrived running. Okay. You're using it as a manner in which the Mali arrived. Okay. That's case number one. In this case, we are using it as an adverb. मैं दौड़कर office गया. Okay. At the same time, if I'm saying I went to the gym and I went to the office, मैं gym जाकर office गया. You are using the event one is happening first and then second is happening. You're using it as a conjunctive particle, right? You're joining two sentences using conjunctive particle. That's why it's known as conjunctive particle. So in my mind, all of you are saying the correct thing. It's really, how it is being used. In Hindi, it's the same thing. You're adding kar to the base form of the word. Okay. It's really, we are translating it into different contexts. Hopefully this clarifies. Okay.
No, now I see, Ashu Ji, like that there's more to it than having gone after blah, blah. I mean, there's more to it. So if we're trying to force it into that first one, it won't work.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The entire takeaway.
It doesn't translate that way.
Yeah, I think for me, the entire takeaway would be exactly what he said in the beginning, is that there's event one followed by event two. And if that's the case, then this is the structure that we need to use. But it's really easy to get really deep into like the meaning with trying to translate from English to Hindi. That's why I get so, because we have so many different ways of saying things here.
Yeah, awesome. So now let's look at, so we've done the past as well. So now the last one I have, before I do the most interesting one, which is the imperatives. Okay. Some of imperatives also always get left out, right? Because they're always there. So now I have to do the future indefinite one. Okay. So hopefully we can do this one a little bit faster. Same thing. You want to say the same thing, but you are trying to, मैं, same thing if you want to say मैं office जाऊंगा. So in a way, it's a quick revision of your tenses as well, right? So you have jana as to go, right? In future, you have मैं, and the way it's getting conjugated, you have ja, and remove the na, and you put unga. मैं office जाऊंगा. I will go to the office. Okay. Now you put it here, the different variations of it. मैं office जाऊंगा. Okay. So feel free to share. I think somebody wrote some explanation of it. Sangeeta ji, you want to? I didn't get a chance to read what everyone is writing, but let's come to it. Sangeeta ji, I'm going to ask you what can go there. मैं office जाऊंगा और मैं office जाऊंगी.
मैं तैयार होकर ऑफिस जाऊंगी.
के मैं तैयार होकर, and what does it? That's a pretty good one. मैं तैयार होकर.
After getting ready, I'll go to the office.
After getting ready. Okay. Okay. What are the other variations? Anything else that you can put? मैं तैयार होकर ऑफिस जाऊंगी.
Ashu Ji, I have a question here. So I also thought about this tayar, but for some reason I thought मैं तैयार आकर. So is that wrong then, or
तैयार आकर?
I don't know. After getting, I don't know. That's what I thought. If that's wrong, why is it?
The verb is basically तैयार होना, to get ready.
Oh, okay, got it. Makes sense.
Yeah.
I have a question, Ashu Ji.
Yep.
This is Vatsala. So when we have a word like saaf karna, how would you use it? Because it will be like kar. Is that saaf kar?
Okay, so let's see. So saaf karke. You probably hear some native speakers say karke, kar as well, but that's basically, it sounds too much, right? I mean, it's redundant. So it's basically karke, and that's why I wrote k as well as karke. right? So मैं घर साफ करके ऑफिस जाऊंगा और मैं घर साफ करके ऑफिस जाऊंगी.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
I've got another example.
Yeah.
Nashta kharid kar.
मैं नाश्ता खरीद कर. नाश्ता खरीद. And what does it mean, Yirka?
I mean, after buying a breakfast, I go to the office.
Okay, awesome. Anything else? Anyone can think that, you know, it can go very well, which we have not done, which is interesting. Heike?
Hello.
Yes.
We already did chai peeker. So.
Okay, chai peeker. You can think again. The chai peeker office jaungi. Okay. Awesome. Navneet? Yeah, louder, Navneet.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. You have to just speak a little bit louder, beta.
Okay. No.
You can say school.
Okay. मैं स्कूल बस लेकर स्कूल जाऊंगा.
Yeah, good one, right? So मैं स्कूल बस लेकर स्कूल जाऊंगा और मैं बस लेकर स्कूल जाऊंगा. Awesome, right? So here again, just for everyone, it's the base sentence is in future indefinite, but now you are adding the conjunctive particle to it. Okay, so that's basically that's the way the tenses work. Now let's say you are giving order to someone or you want to use it as imperatives, right? How will you use that? Imperative, like command, request, you know, suggestion, all of those fall into it, right? So now let's say I want to give someone command, you know, how will I do that, right? It's basically you have your here the first part, and then the ending will change, just like the way it works in imperative. So if I want to be very, very, you know, informal or rude, or, you know, in a way jana, right? I will say, and bear with me, okay, I'm not trying to be rude, but I'm just trying to explain here, like khana khakar office ja. Okay, it's a little bit slightly rude, where you are saying like eat your lunch, finish your food, and go to work. Okay, now in this case, somebody is giving instruction, strict instruction to someone: finish your food and go to work. Okay, in a way, get the heck out of here, basically, right? Khana khakar office ja, right? So that's was your case number one when you say imperatives. Second one is same thing, khana khakar office jao. And I hope this you guys remember that, right? I mean, you in the first case, you're removing the na altogether, okay, and you're just saying it as it is, the base stem ja. In the second case, you are a little bit more respectful, and you're putting oh, khana khakar office jao. Okay. In the third case, you are saying khana khakar office jaiye. Okay, and in the fourth case, you are basically saying khana khakar office. I don't say it, but Duper Chanel covers it, right? So it's jaiyega. So iega. That's what. So first one, remove the na altogether. Just use it as a, you know, as it is. Second one is you put o. Third one ie or iega. Okay, these are imperatives. There's no change in the imperatives. Okay, you are just saying, you know, using it in your you know, in your basically with your conjunctive particle. Okay, so let's see what you guys have to you know, okay, what you guys have to share there. Any other examples that you can share that will go very well? I meant this part only. And feel free to change the office. I kept it same because it makes more sense, because we've been covering only one example. So I thought it'll be lesser confusion for you. So let's see. Who hasn't had a chance? Chanel, what do you think? Give us some good examples here.
All I can think of is khana. Khana kha ke bhag jao.
Khana khakar, park jao.
Bhag jao. Huh.
Oh, that's a good one, right? Khana kha ke park jao, right? Now, if you look at it, Rupert Snell, the first example he gives, he doesn't say it, but it is imperative. Udhar बैठ कर आराम करो. Okay, udhar बैठ कर आराम करो. Okay, that's his first example. And then he also gives more examples, which is probably in 150 page. But that's imperative, right? And he says, हाथ धो के खा. Let's see who can figure out what it means. हाथ धो के खा. Tatyana ji, what do you think it means? हाथ, yeah.
Hadokhekat.
Mm-hmm.
Clean. Sorry.
What?
I don't know.
It's okay. It's okay. What do you mean? What do you think? Dhona is to wash. Dhokar is?
Dhokar.
Yeah.
Wash your hands.
Yeah, that's right. Wash your hands. So now see, in English, he's translating it pretty well. He's saying wash your hands before eating. Okay. So you see that? Like, so he, at the end of the day, you're washing your hands first and doing the other action first. But, it doesn't make, it doesn't like appear good when you say, after washing my hand, or, you simply, he's saying wash your hands before eating. And that's exactly right. It is imperative. You're doing the first one, first action, and then the second one. But the better translation in English is, what you see it here. Okay. I'll give you one more example. सड़क को पार करके बाएं मुड़ना. Okay. We have not done this one, but at the same time, it is an instruction. And let's see Tommy, what do you think it means? सड़क को पार करके बाएं मुड़ना. I can repeat it again for you. सड़क को पार करके बाएं मुड़ना.
No, I have no idea.
You know,
Tommy. There's Tom and there's Tommy.
Tommy. I get confused, Tom and Tommy. So this time it's Tommy from Pittsburgh. So the question is, what does it mean? सड़क को पार करके बाएं मुड़ना. Hard. Okay. Hard. Okay. I know it's hard.
No.
So, सड़क को पार करना, you understand? सड़क को पार करना, to cross the.
After crossing the street.
Yeah, after crossing the street.
Turn left.
Turn
Exactly.
Cross the road.
Crossing the street, cross the road. Yes. So you get the point, right? I mean, hopefully my gut feeling is that, having gone through this, ये lecture सुनकर or, देखकर, when you go back to Rupert Snell's, list, hopefully they will make sense. Okay. Hopefully it'll be much easier to see that, all the example he's put in there, some of them are tenses, some of them are in variety of tenses, and some of them are imperatives. Okay. Hopefully it'll be much easier, your journey there. Okay. We'll continue this one. Okay. I'm not saying that, this is a done deal. As you can see, it's a very interesting topic. Okay. So what I want you to do, two things. We'll stop the broadcast, but two things. Homework for you is to identify at least 5 scenarios where you can use it in your day-to-day language. It's different for everyone. Okay. So I want each of you to think about at least 5 scenarios which applies to you, where you want to use it. Okay. And write them down. That's a very simple homework. Okay. The other one is for the breakout room, slightly easier, but again, challenging is that, 12A, where there's a paragraph going on where Khanna phones Prakash. It's a small paragraph. I want you guys to read it and underline the the conjunctive particles, kar. Okay, we'll not get a chance to discuss it, but I want you to help each other in the breakout room. Okay, we'll have to, I know Kelly ji has practice session in 9:30, so try to wrap up everything in about 7 minutes or so. Okay, so I'm gonna create breakout rooms, and again you have to read the paragraph 12a in your breakout rooms.